So, back to the ever burning question of how do you know you're good at networking? We asked this question at Parlay Lounge for the live open mic podcast for Coffee Quest, and we got some similar answers. Really, people would talk about how they can have just a normal conversation. I have the skills to ask people questions. I do active listening. I make it, a conversation about them and what they do. I use the Ford method or whatever. Just because you can have a basic conversation does not mean you're good at networking. Does not mean that you're making professional connections, and definitely does not mean that that person is going to follow up with you. Here, let me give you an example of just when everything goes wrong. Adam and I were doing the podcast. We were done. We were just kind of sitting there wrapping things up, and this guy, nice guy, great, whatever, walks up and just hands us his business card, and shakes our hand, introduces himself, and says, "Hey, I'll be around here if you guys want to talk to me about what I do." I can list off the top of my head 5 things at least wrong with that interaction. This guy made at least 5 mistakes. I'll challenge you guys. Can you tell me what those 5 networking mistakes were? I'll tell you what they were on Friday's podcast. Not that there's anything wrong with what he did, but let me tell you, there's a lot of things that could be done better. A lot of mistakes made in that basic interaction. Think about it. Let me know what you think those mistakes with that were. Again, guy walks up, hands us his business card, introduces himself, and says, "Hey, I'm here at this networking event. Come find me if you guys want to talk about what I do." Nope. Wrong. Tell me what he did wrong and what you guys think he'd do better. I'm going to talk about that on this week's podcast. All right. Until then, you know the deal. Get out there, do something good, and I'll see you all at the coffee shop.